Welcome everybody. I'm very happy to say that words not only to people here in Warsaw, but everybody on our YouTube channel and actually on vJUG YouTube channel. So this is the very first time that is happening, the live Warsaw Java user group with a new initiative I will be talking about in a minute. And obviously I want to say hi to Piotr, who is our special guest. Our partners, as I mentioned, this is the first ever like vJUG Connect initiative. It will be targeted towards any JUG user groups across the world. If you want to participate and be just like we are trying to be today, we will be doing the live stream with vJUG directly from your place when you are, just to reach as many people as possible. So this is our special partner for tonight, and thank you very much, Kim and Sam, who are in London and are making this happen as we speak. Obviously, I want to say some words of some thanks to our regular partners, the Paramount, the company we are which we are right now. So great thanks to everybody. From JIT team, who's sponsoring the pizza. So if you're watching live, you'll be missing that, but you can always join in any other our events for some networking as well. And with JetBrains and Decerto, the software company who's sponsoring the books for activity, so you can ask questions, be active during our today's meetup, and you'll be able to get either books or licenses from JetBrains. As for agenda, it will be 2 parts, 3 actually. So first one is Piotr Przybył late night show live with vJUG, as I mentioned, and it will be around 1 hour. And then the live streaming will end, but we will stay here and we'll be able to participate in Piotr Przybył very late night show here at Paramount. And afterwards, if you ask all the questions you wanted to ask about the latest in Java, we'll have some pizza and some networking here in Paramount office. As always, I'd like to ask if you want to stand on the stage as Piotr does, exactly here, you can go to our website and maybe on JVM Slack Poland to either be a part of this as a speaker or contact us directly on LinkedIn. We have obviously a group of Warsaw Java user group, and try to contact us by any means that you'll find. And one announcement that I wanted to add for today's meetup: the tickets for Late Conf just dropped today. So the Late Conf is the new thing, the new project we are organizing here in Warsaw on March next year. It will be a conference, 2-day conference, targeted for people on staff plus roles, so leadership in engineering. It's a brand new thing, but we are getting very nice speakers, so you can see those on our website. And as I mentioned, the tickets just dropped today. So with that, I have a 15% ticket code for you, and it's valid only until Christmas Eve. So when you'll be doing your pierogies and everything, you'll be able to maybe think about going to the conference. And definitely it's something I would recommend you to do, because not only the speeches will be great and talks will be great, I can assure you, but the networking and the people we are trying to gather and we're getting there, it will be, for networking purposes, a great place to be. And once again, because it's just the tickets were released just now, we have a special website with a link to the newsletter. If you sign up for the newsletter, you'll have a chance to get a 30% discount, and will be short validity as well, but it will be as much as 40%, and it is a very only today kind of thing. So hope everybody got that. But if you want to go vjug.l8conf. It's L, the first letter, lateconf.com. And yeah, when it comes to questions, I think you'll if you want to ask a question here in person, just raise your hand. We have that very nice microphone to throw at your face. You'll see yourselves. It's fluffy, so it won't hurt. And if you want to ask your questions on YouTube, please do. We'll be looking at those and ask questions to Piotr at your convenience. So, yeah, I think that I said everything I wanted to say. Once again, I'm very happy that we are doing that in this hybrid model. Actually, it came from Piotr to start that thing. So, once again, Piotr, thank you very much for an idea and for coming here. And put your hands together for Piotr.
Thank you very much. Well, apparently, thank you very much for this intro. Java community is not that big, you know. Warsaw, London, we are apparently interconnected. We're having common friends, common interests, and very nice attitude, right? So it's because of this. So I very much like also, so for all of the people who are joining us online for using vJUG. So vJUG is an initiative. If you don't live in a big city, right, where there's a JUG around you, what you can do, you can be a member of vJUG, right? So you can attend these meetings which are happening virtually. So this is how it works, right? For all the people who cannot attend any real JUG, virtual JUG is your JUG, then kind of like, or like for everybody else as well, of course. So this is how it works. And what we used to do, we used to gather here more or less every autumn for a few years to discuss what has happened to the latest Java versions, like last two, since the last release. Due to obvious reasons, this one will be in English, at least the late night show. Okay, and I'm not sure what you folks are expecting to happen tonight, right? Because I got something literally when I was leaving the hotel to get here. So behold, in this pre-Christmas season.
Letzte Weihnacht hab ich mein Herz dir geschenkt, du hast mich gekränkt und es weiter.
Yes, expect more unexpected things today, right? Not just Java, right? So. I mean, I've heard this song at least 3 times when I was coming here, right? So, and this German version only once, a very nice German version. I won't be singing, and I won't be singing in German, I promise, right? This is guaranteed. So welcome to the session, and I've taken the opportunity to also smuggle some changes from Java 22 because they sort of explain what has happened in Java 23 or what's about to happen in Java 24 as well. So it's going to be not only Java 23 today, and I'll try to squeeze as much as I can in the recorded part, and what we can't, we'll go to the part after. So quickly about myself, you can find me here, right, on Twitter, on Blue Sky, or on Mastodon. I work as a senior developer advocate for a company called Elastic. That explains why you guys can grab the stickers, which are there on this piano chair, right? And one thing that happened, also because of you, since we've met last year, is this, right? So I'm also a Java champion now, test containers champion, and as always, when I have something to publish, I publish it on my softwaregarden.dev webpage. Who are you? Who's Java developer? Okay. Who has Java 23 in production? 23.01 to be precise. Nobody. I hope at least on YouTube, one person would say, yes, I have Java 23.01 in production. Okay, 21? 17? You can raise your hand now, I know. 11? Okay, let's keep it here, okay. A little warning, everyone can make mistake. I can also make a mistake, right? So I'm not immune to making mistakes, especially when I'm stressed and a bit tired, like tonight. So I might say some funny things. So don't bet your money based on what I have said tonight. So Java 22, right? It has been released in March this year. It had 12 JEPs in total, and you can click this release notes and read this lengthy page, or you can do the same for Java 23, which had also 12 JEPs released, and thanks to the Fibonacci rule, I guess, the next release will have how many JEPs? 24, exactly. It might be the beefiest Java release we'll see in March next year. And so this is like the first 6, another 6. yet more 6, and the last 6, right? And that would be all time for pizzas and beers, right? Not really, of course. Before we delve into Java 23, there's always this question: shall I abandon LTS, which is Java 21 right now, and stick to the newest Java version? And my answer, my personal answer to this question is, I think so. You shouldn't be stuck with Java 21, for example, or 17, or like 11. Why? Because you need to have really good excuse not to do that. Right, to stick to something that is not as much up to date as the other things, and this should be really good like excuse, because non-LTS doesn't mean banana soft, right? Question to you folks: what does S in LTS stand for? Support, exactly. Who's paying for the support? So if you don't pay for the long-time support, why do you stick to long-time support? I'm not quite sure I get it, and there might be perhaps more reasons. So before we go into this Java 23, this is the list of the JEPs that made it to Java 24, and let me make it a little bit clearer for you. Let me go maybe like this, something like this, maybe even, can you see it now? Synchronize virtual threads without pinning, which means we'll be able to use virtual threads even from within synchronized blocks or methods, right? So these virtual threads that became our reality in Java 21 will be even easier to use starting March next year, which is like, what, 3 months from now, right? So, and of course there will be more goodies, more nice parts to Java 24, including quite a substantial number of things that are going to be removed or deprecated, right? Like this 32-bit port and so on. And I guess people who will migrate to this non-LTS version to fully squeeze all the juice from virtual threads will send you a postcard in April. And the postcard might look like this. If you know, you know. If you don't, you can like Google it later. Okay, so in short, what changes do we have in Java 23 and also 24? There's new language syntax, right? And it's nice especially for the newcomers, for people who are about to learn their first or maybe second programming language, or who are not very much experienced in computer science. There are changes, of course, ongoing changes to concurrency, in structured concurrency and scope values. We also have changes to processing data, so now we will be able to use primitive types in pattern matching, in instance of, right, and switch. Also we have unnamed variables and patterns and stream gatherers, which will be finalized or released as standard feature in Java 24. We have changes to native stuff, which means foreign functions and memory API got released in March, right, in Java 22, and vector API is ongoing incubation because we're still waiting for Valhalla to come, right? And there are, of course, like more changes, like generational ZGC, module imports. We won't have string templates. Things from unsafe will get deprecated and removed, and there are changes to Javadoc and more and more and more. And like, because I forgot, let me go back to the point about using non-LTS versions. Who's using Elasticsearch in production? Few hands. Okay, if you are using the latest version of Elasticsearch using Docker images, what version of Java are you using? I'll show you, because you might not be aware of this. So I have used this what is it called, like a very simple page to start locally. If you just have Docker and a few gigs of disk space, you can run Elasticsearch in Kibana locally, right? You can find it here on GitHub, so I'm not hallucinating. And now when I run it, right, Docker PS, you can see I have Kibana and Elasticsearch running. And now when I go for like check what version is it using in this Docker image, you see it's using Java 23. Right, so apparently the folks who are responsible for Elasticsearch are stupid or something because they're not really sticking to Elasticsearch to the latest like LTS. They always surfing the wave, so they use the changes, right? The improvements that come with each and every Java version. And one of such things is the vector API, right? The one I listed just seconds ago. And we should see it. Let me go. Can anyone see vector here? Because I can't, and it should be here because I grabbed it. Does it? Vector. Yes. See? Add modules, JDK incubator, vector. So it's using the vector API, which isn't the standard feature, which is still in incubation. And the reason for this is, yeah, you made big eyes. There's a whole new engine in Elasticsearch responsible for interpreting queries sent in a new language called ES-PipeQL, right? So if you want to write like a freaking fast software in Java, processing lots of data, right, then Vector API is your friend. So you don't want to be stuck with Java 11, for example. You want to serve the wave of the latest JDK release. So see, using non-LTS versions is apparently a serious business, my friends, right? It's not just for, I don't know, fancy hipsters who want to try new things. It's a proper legit stuff. Okay, back to the slides. Cool. So, preview features, many things I'm covering tonight are preview features, or today, depending on your time zone, of course. These are implementation of JEP 12, and you go with them with -- enable -- preview, and they are like restrictions. It has to be compiled and used using exactly the same JDK version, I mean the major version, right? How you set it in Gradle is more or less like this. You have to remember to toss it to compile, to test, to run, always like enable preview. A similar thing in Maven, right? If you go for a version change, you have to go here, enable preview, and for test, enable preview, and so on and so on. And sometimes you need to also set it manually in IntelliJ. If you, like, for example, go without like build tools. I have here like version for 19, but it's pretty much the same for every version. You have to explicitly enable the previous stuff, right? Or cherry pick the incubation modules, like you saw the vectors seconds before. Or if you want to get like a full understanding, I recommend this guy, like explaining it a few years ago. Now let's talk about a simple start, right? When did you start programming Java? Who started in the last 5 years? Okay, like 5 to 10 years. Okay, more than 10 years. More than 15 years? There are still some of us. Okay, 15 years ago or more. It was usually the time when we compared Java to what? Like C, C++, right? And the time it was like, back then Java was easy to start compared these languages, right? You didn't have to like have constructors and deconstructors or malloc and free and such stuff, right? It used to be simple. Fun fact, Java is almost 30 years old now, right? Next spring it's going to be 30 years old. And world, whether you like it or not, evolves. So the whole IT evolved, and now if we still take the same approach to teaching people how to start program in Java, it might be outdated, 30-year-ish old, right? So maybe we need new ways to start this journey with Java, and here they are. Like there are new JEPs, new ways that will help us to start. I mean, this is not only for people who want to who have like newbies or students, right? High school or university students. This is also like if you want to try something new, like a new library, quick prototype. You can also use, of course, this approach. This is not just limited to students. So, starting Java 22, we can launch multi-file source code programs. I'll show you in a second what that means. We can also benefit implicitly declared classes and instant main methods. And this is the JEP, which I guess is renamed every Java release. So in Java 24, this might be simple classes or something like this, or simple source files. I might be hallucinating right now. And also, it's going to be about less ceremony in Java, right? So we will have flexible constructor bodies, when it's standardized now, it's a preview feature in Java 23. We have module input declarations. Who has this lengthy list of import statements for packages? Yes, so if they come from the same package, sorry, module, you'll be able to just say import module, and that's it, right? I very much like you big guys. And there is also a new way, like, who can type HTML by heart? Yes, I mean, these very slides are made in HTML, right? But many people these days, they just go for Markdown, for example. So now we'll be able also to go to create documentation using Markdown. Okay, and who knows the code? Everyone, okay. Who knows the code? This is Java. This is Java 23 if you go for enable preview, right? So it's just this. So they didn't get rid of void main. So there's still this entry point to show people you should start from here, right? It's not accidental. It's not like script. But we don't need this whole ceremony. So we don't have to tell people, trust me, you will understand it next week, okay? You just skip this part. You may even say it looks dangerously similar to Python. Well, I don't care. Okay, it is simple if you are even elementary school student. Okay, yes. So we don't have this wrapping in class, right? We don't have this system out. We don't have this public static. We don't have this string, whatever arguments, right? Or even ... This is what we have. And how does it work? So these string arguments can be omitted. Okay, we don't need them. The main doesn't have to be a static. It doesn't have to be public. It just can't be private. Okay, if it's not private, you're good to go. And the order is this: if you have a because you can't have like a static and non-static method with the same name and the same like signature, right? The list of parameters. So the one that has arguments takes precedence, right? It's the winner. And this works with interpreter and with some degree also with scripts, and implicitly it also imports Java base module starting Java 23. So you can think of it as it has this import Java base right at the beginning of every file, and it also has this, there's a new class, right? Java IO, and in Java 23 it has 3 methods, 2 print lines and 1 read line. And in Java 24, it has 5 methods. There are 2 more. And basically, this is the very simple I/O. What was the last time we tried to read something from standard input in Java? Was it painful? That's why you don't remember. Exactly. Now you just go. I hope I'll show you. It's not that much difficult. Okay. Let me try to find the example. The code is online, by the way, on GitHub. You should be able to find it. And let me go for this implicitly declared. Where is it? Yes. See, this is it. This is my whole. It has like no package, no nothing. What it has is just this void main, right? And that's it. Let's try to run this code. So we run it. It asks me what's your name. So I'll say Piotr. And that's it, right? So this is imported from this IO, right? And this is also imported from this IO, so I get string, basically. And then this becomes like implicitly declared class. So it's an implementation detail. It's named after the file name, right? That's why its name is no class. I mean, the class should be unnamed. This was the original name of the JEP, but de facto it has a name if you ask for it. It's just it shouldn't be relying on this class. You can't call this class from the outside or something, right? It's just an entry point class for a relatively simple program. And of course it's final. It has no package and no module. And have you noticed this? I have list of 1, 2, 3. Despite I didn't import Java util list, right? You see no single import here. There's no single import. And the reason is because the Java base module gets imported, right? So everything that's in Java base module is already here, like streams, random, and stuff like this. So we don't have to bother about these relatively common in use classes, right? They just here, basically. Okay. Yes. What we can also do is we can launch, if you start prototyping like this, you can easily add more files, right? It's nice for beginners and for early prototypes, so we don't want to start with like Maven archetype, for example, so we don't have to like go for this full-blown like tooling and everything. It doesn't work with Shebang, unfortunately, and it has slightly different rules for class loaders than normal programs that we have, and it might be like this. Let me go for Java 22 because this became part of Java 22, and I have this here. Where is it? There. I have this multi-file launch, and I have what? My prototype program. This is it. This is my program. Okay, this is it. So how I can run it, and as you can see, it has it's like a regular class with regular public static void main, right? Nothing fancy here. And I have class util. And this is how it used to work till Java 21, okay? I had to have all the classes in the same file if I wanted to run them like this, just using interpreter, going for Java, enable preview, and that's it, right? And what we can do since Java 22 is this. I can move this class to an external file. I mean, sorry, the like some other file. And now let me see where the file is. So that should be here. See? And now I have this class in external file, and it has separate handy method, right? And now when I run it, it tells me so. It is a separate handy method. Okay, so now even if I don't use Maven or anything like this, I just want, and I don't want to get into, you know, this Java C, class files, class paths, jar files, and stuff like this. I can basically go in this interpreter mode with multiple files, and of course, like just void main if I fancy, right? Because it's not blocking it, right? So this is how it works, basically. Easier to teach some children programming if in Java if you want to elevate their skills or ruin your life, sorry, their life. I mean, depends what you see, how you see it. Anyway, next thing is this. If I cover the first line, if I cover this very first line, what would you say this thing is doing? It looks dangerously close or similar to a factory method, isn't it? It's something like this, right? So what we can do now is, okay, this is a constructor, right? Maybe I can show you that in code, okay? Maybe the code is actually even better than random slides. I mean, I can put everything on slides, right? And the compiler and the code don't cheat. So here we go for the legal statements. So what I have here is a class that extends base class, okay? And let's just see if it not only compiles but runs. Well, apparently it does. So here in the main method, I just call the constructor, and the constructor does the following. It checks if the input is not null, right? It's just a validation of the arguments. I can also do something, but I would say this is bad, right? Don't fetch external stuff in constructors. Just because you can doesn't mean you should, but technically it's possible, right? I could even do like a call like third-party service, and of course this method has to be static. As you can see, it's a static method, right? And I can prepare some arguments, so I can like calculate the length or do whatever, and then I can even assign stuff to the fields I have, right? Fields like this and something, and then finally I can explicitly call a constructor like super or this, right? So previously we had to like wrap everything in this, so the super or this had to be, if it was explicit, the very first instruction in our constructor, right? And then after calling this, we could only go for these asserts or initialize extra fields or whatever. It only meant that maybe it was wasteful, because what happens if you call this and then you figure out that you shouldn't be constructing this object in the first place? So now with this flexible constructor bodies, we can go and do stuff before we call this and super, right? And of course, what you can't do is like we can't call instant methods, or we can't assign fields to super, right? Quite logically. And also what we can't do is like we can't read the fields, right? See, so I'm trying to read a field. This is not okay here before explicit call to the super, right? But after I'm done with the constructor call, then I can, of course, read my fields no problem. This is how it used to be since ever. All right? So, any questions related to this? Do you like it? Can be useful, right? Quite a few factory methods less, I hope. Yes. So these are these little things that can make our lives simpler, right? Or like more intuitive, I would say. Yes, so now we can handle arguments even before we call super or this. We can compute and validate arguments. It doesn't allow conditional jumps. So what you can't do is the following. We can't go, I mean, something like this. We can't go for C. If this is it, then this, or else call this. No. You always have to have like explicit call to the constructor eventually, right? It's not like you can't go and randomly because of whatever. It works, of course, with records and enums as well. I mean, they have their own extra constraints when it comes to constructors, but there's like no clash in here. We can call static methods, but not instance methods, logically. And we can assign instance fields, but we cannot read them. Okay, and we can read outer class files. So if you are in a constructor of an inner class, you can read the fields of the outer class. That works without issues. Let's go for another thing, because like we don't have that much time, sorry. Module import declarations. So if you don't like this lengthy list of import this and that and everything, and it's even not that bad if you can import like the asterisk something, right? But if you can't, yes. So we can now just go import module M. And that's it. That imports the whole public API from that module. And also the transitive dependencies of that module. Okay, and if there's a clash, like we had with the diamond problem, for example, when you have like default methods from multiple interfaces, there's always this simple Java rule. If there is a clash, if there's a conflict, you have to be explicit. You have to explicitly say which class do we import, else it won't work. I should have a demo to prove this. Okay, so let me see, and that should be module imports. Very nice. So we have something like this, and to make this thing work, as you can see, it complains, right? So I have to go, for example, and say import Java module Java base, and that's it. And now the program should be running. I mean, compiling and running. Yes. Very nice. And now let's say I have also this imported, which is Java SQL, and I want to like be sure what's today's date, and it doesn't work. Why? Who said that? Yeah, of course, you get jealous. There you go. Yes. So we need to explicitly say which date class do we want to use, right? So I can go and say here, import, sorry, without comments, of course, sorry. So let me import Java SQL date. And now, with just a semicolon, it should run. And it does. Today is, and this, by the way, dear American friends, is the ultimate way of like displaying data. Sorry, someone had to say it. Yes, so this is the way to get beyond these quirks, right? And now, there's also this thing. As you can see, I instantiated XPath. I'm not processing anymore of XML. I mean, we've done our share, okay? It's just to prove you something. Why is it working despite I don't have Java XML imported here? Because when we go to Java SQL, you can see that it requires transitively Java XML. So importing Java SQL module means you have also Java XML module imported. Okay. Therefore, this code should be running. It's still running, as you can see. And now let's try one more thing, which is, and we'll see if it works. Apparently not, because yeah, it's not importing in this version in Java 23. It's not importing the base, I guess. Now let's try to run it. Yes, and it's an unnamed module, and therefore we cannot import Java SE and so on and so on, right? This is, I'm showing this because there are changes regarding this in Java 24. So if you decide to go for Java 24, try to experiment with import module SE. Anyway, let me just roll this back. If you don't want to go and import Java util this and that and something else, you can just go for import module Java base. Especially, I would say, if you are experimenting, right, prototyping something quickly. Then before, you know, publishing to production, you'll be able to get rid of import module if you really need to be that picky about every class and just go for the lengthy list like this, right? But for quick prototyping, maybe it's easier this way, basically. And now let's go for the Markdown documentation comments. And I should have some of them here, if I'm not mistaken. Let's try to run this. Yes. So it's not quite working okay in the in IntelliJ. I notified my JetBrains friends, and today morning, I did that yesterday, and today morning they shared like a screenshot with me with DM. See, there's a PR for this, so chances are they will keep improving this. Now, if I show you something like this, the quick doc, as you can see, not everything is working, right? There is like no link to module. List get first is like generated properly, but not the second case, right? This is how you can write Java doc right now. So this is code block, right? This should be a link to a module. This is a link to a class. This is like, you know, changes font, like go for this emphasis. And this is also like how you can create lists and how you can override the links, right? How can we do that? Let me go for this, prepare this little manual, sorry, this little documentation to read. Let's go to, where is it? SRC, where are we? Where? Okay, goodies, SRC main Java, and let's call this. Do I have this file here? Sorry. No, it's not even. Okay, I have to go even deeper. Sorry. And here, okay, we have it. And let's create the Java doc in place, right? And the Java doc should be, where is it? Where are you? Come out, wherever you are. Or is it not here? Oh, there is. See, oh, I was afraid I messed something. Okay, so now let's open this index HTML with internal browser here. And as you can see, there is this app. And now it looks just as we would have expected, right? It has this Java base, right? It has location and so on. And when we go here, it has this link, and it has the other link in the list, right? And I was able to override the default label and everything. So this is working all right, right? If you go with just Java doc tool, right? There are no issues here, right? So, and as you can see, now it's even easier to write documentation, and it's not that difficult to read it. Yes, oh my, what should we do? What should we do, people? What do you think? Yes, let's park it here, maybe. Okay, so this is one thing, right? The other thing is it's a kind of like a dialect of or variant of Markdown. So it's like not every possible thing you've seen in Markdown implemented somewhere else. Okay, you should read the JEP. The old HTML still works, of course. There are no changes here. If you want to use like what's returned, what are the params or what it throws, you still go for these shortcodes, right? Even in Markdown. Maybe it will be changed in the future, and it looks basically like this, right? If I have a very dummy method, I can say a return before super or something like this. And there's one more thing. Sorry, I have forgotten. One more thing would be this. Let me go for like here for this app. Be careful about one thing, which is the empty line. Because if I throw an empty line here, okay, it still works. Sorry, the empty line like here. Let's remove this. This is what I meant. Now, when I go for the dock, it shows just the second point which is not rendered properly. Okay, so be sure that even if you want to keep like an empty line in the dock, right? You go for something like this, and now it should be okay, right? It just gets skipped. And yes, if you want to go for this return or before, right? This is how you do that. You still use this, and it says like returns or throws and so on. So yes, I would say writing Java doc has never been easier, right? We should like be doing this. Now another topic: who's using ZGC in production? Anywhere? Okay. Do you know what ZGC is famous for? Very short stop the world pauses, right? If your business is processing batch things, like you have to like run once a month a report for the whole bank, and it takes 8 hours to crunch the numbers, you don't want to go for a ZGC or Shenandoah. But if you are in a business of like ad speeding or high frequency trading, you want to go for these garbage collectors. Because why? Now it's a default mode in Java 23. I mean, this generational ZGC, which basically has two generations, like young and old, right? Or even an old, like something like this. The reasoning behind this is this: if an object makes it through several garbage collection cycles, then it's mature enough, right? So we take it from this kindergarten and put it like into like I don't know, this elderly facility, right? Because people there or the objects there die less frequently, so to say. So we don't have to check them with every single garbage collection cycle, right? That's the reasoning. You check the youngsters, but not the oldies, okay? So it's still, the aim is to still keep pauses below 1 millisecond. And in my experiments, I even went below millisecond, like significantly, like for example, 30 microseconds for the whole like stop the world pause. And there's no magic here, right? You pay in the CPU, because what it does, it's compacting or doing as much as possible concurrently. So it's using like more CPU power, more CPU threads in the background. It just stops for the absolute minimum thing, right? That's the whole magic, I shall say. Yes, so it's still improving performance because of these like two kinds of objects, right? It should have low memory overhead and handles heaps from hundreds of megabytes to many terabytes. And heap is mapped into, yes, young and old regions, and there should be minimal and maybe even no configuration. The thing is, it should educate or learn along the flight, right? Like tune itself basically based on like what's happening with the heap and so on. And yeah, the non-generation one had 4 color bits, and this and a hat, and that like was trickery, because how it works when you have 64-bit architecture, okay, you have 64-bit pointers, and we use only 44 bits to address, I've forgotten, let's say 16 terabytes of heap. Does anyone have more than 16 terabytes of heap? Not really, no. So we are wasting 20 bits, okay? And we can use these 20 bits to carry on additional information, like was this object move? Is it about to be moved? And so on, right? So this is how this engineering is working, right? And it's not using these 4 color bits ahead. There are more bits, but they are just like the tail bits, so to say. And it also relies on load and store barriers. And this is how you use it, okay? In Java 23, it's that simple. As with every like decent usage, you just go for like max heap, right? Maybe you should even go for minimum heap, and you just go use ZGC. And in Java 23, you can still opt out from this. You just say, I don't want to use generational ZGC, just regular one, right? Due to whatever reason. But then it emits a warning, that it will be removed in one of the future releases, and the future release will be Java 24, and we know it because there's already JEP 490. And if you're into ZGC, you should also be interested in Shenandoah, in my opinion, because ZGC is from Oracle, Shenandoah is from Red Hat. Hello, Red Hat people. And it works on different principle, right? But effectively, it's doing the same, like compacting your memory concurrently. Okay. String templates. Who loved string templates from Java 22? Okay. You can keep your hand and wave because they're discontinued. There will be no more string templates. And this is honestly a thing that sort of like puzzles me, okay? Let's be honest. Language, the whole ecosystem, big, vast community, I would say, right? 30 years of history, and we still don't have string interpolation. How come? We tried, right? And sort of like we failed. And this is also, by the way, how this whole preview feature or incubation module works, right? Because this used to be a preview feature for 2 releases, and the feedback was, it's meh, right? So it basically got, okay, let's forget about this, okay? So as you can see, it's not always that these things are improved and then eventually merged as a standard feature. They not always go GA. This is an example that some preview features don't go GA when people complain about this or have like the valid points or like discussion leads or on Xita or however you contact OpenJDK folks, right? They doing this so we can experiment, right? And then we can tell them like return the favor, whether we like it or not, what do we think it's missing, or is it even like possible to like save the thing. This didn't make it, right? So there's this JEP 465. Let's just see it for the last time, closed, withdrawn, right? So there will be no more string templates, at least in this form with string processors and so on and so on. Okay. Stream gatherers. Has anyone? Nothing? Nada? Okay. Obviously, I won't be able to spend too much time on this, right? So we'll squeeze it to like just a good few minutes about stream gatherers. If you're interested about this, I have a full session called Hunting with Stream Gatherers. You can find it on YouTube, okay? Now, this is a preview feature Java 22 and 23. And it made it as a standard feature to Java 24, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the JEP, of course. So, let me ask you again. Who's using streams? Not reactive streams, but streams. Okay, quite a few. Keep your hands raised. Keep your hands raised, okay? Do you use them in critical path of your program in production? Okay, who's using parallel streams? One person. Okay, I'll make your life a little bit sweeter. Okay, grab some. Okay. Yes, exactly. Because when you see stream.parallel, there will be dragons, or let's say the same thread pool, right? So we can't use them for this very purpose. So now we have an extension point in stream processing, in stream gatherers. Why? Because people like streams were released in Java 8, okay? And since Java 8, there were like a number of like change requests. I should have this method or that method or something else, right? So we had new collectors, okay, like teeing and so on. But we had, as far as I remember, only 2 methods, like intermediate methods to streams, which are take while and drop while, and not much more. And it's not that these requests weren't legitimate. They were still legitimate, right? It's just it was fraction of the user base, and that would easily pollute the whole like stream API, the namespace as the class and everything like in IDE. So the maintainers of OpenJDK could have added all these methods that were requested, right? But they decided not to, and instead they went for string gatherers. And what they allow is just there are this extension point in stream processing. Sorry, they allow windows and accumulation of stuff, and they can be composed and run in parallel. And there are a few predefined ones in Java util stream gatherers. Okay, maybe I can show you how it actually works. Maybe that would be even easier. Okay, let's go for here these gatherers, and let's go for the, where is this? The built-in ones. Okay, cool. So let me run this real quick. So what I have is a stream of integers, okay, and I of course like map them to objects because this works only for objects, right? And we have this new method called gather, right? See, this is like an extension. This is the extension point, and I'm using this folding one, which is using so-called supply. This is in initializer, right? And this is like what I have to do when I get like this, like my accumulator and the next element from the stream, the next item from the stream being processed, right? So I just say do this, and here I say do the same thing, only this thing is folding and this thing is scanning. So if you are into functional programming, you may recognize this, right? So basically folding, in this case, if you use such a lambda, it's gluing elements together, right? And this scanning is basically working as de facto as a prefix, right? So it allows us to like prefix with all the elements that happened so far. And there's also this fixed window which like divides the whole stream into windows of like given size or given width, right? So you can go like this, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you have the sliding one, which always has 3 elements, because here we were just, you know, we didn't have enough to create the last window, right? And here with the sliding, we have just like, who had this recruitment task with like sliding windows in SQL? And not that many SQL people. I see. Well, I guess I would have failed this thing as well. Yeah, so these are the built ones, the 4 will build ones, but there's one more. I'll show you in a second what it does. And why this might be useful with this window, for example. Let's go for this gatherers demo, and I should have length fluctuations. Okay, let's go. Let's say we go into some kind of observability. Okay, this might be the use case. And what I'm using here is like I have my words, and these are my words, just diamond, jacket, whatever, just random words. Okay, they were honestly generated using ChatGPT. Trust me. Trust me, I'm an engineer. So what I'm using here is this window sliding. So I'm dividing them into these 2 element lists, okay? First and second, second and third, third and fourth, and so on. And what I'm interested in is to see this fluctuation, this significant increase or decrease in length between the elements. You can think about like CPU consumption or temperature, right? So let's say if it just raises by 1 character or drops by 1 character, it's okay. It's like expected fluctuation. If it's more than 1, someone should raise an alert, like page the SRE people and such stuff, okay? This is like, it's oversimplified demo. So what I'm doing here is like I'm gathering these words, right, into this window, and then when I check, I get the length of the first element from this list and the length of the last element, and if the absolute difference is bigger than 1, I should do something with this. Let's say I should page someone. In this case, I only like print line. So let me run this thing. And see, this is what it's doing. See, it's like between roto and deify, there's more than 1 character in difference in length. And now the question to you is, okay, given that, okay, maybe like this. Now, if you're told what gatherers are, do you understand this code? More or less. Now try to imagine what would it take to create such a like a sliding window without gatherers. Splitterator, yeah, and stuff, and someone said I don't want to. Yes, exactly. And there are like more ways. Let's just maybe let's go for this purse, right? So what we can also do, let's just run it and see what it does. Some people say Java doesn't have tuples. Okay, I'm afraid Java has tuples, and they're just called what they called. They called records. Okay, this is a tuple. If you need to create like a tuple in Java, this is it. Okay, so maybe we don't need them in standard library. I don't know. Anyway, what we do here, and try to do this using like a for loops or whatnot. It's not that trivial, okay? Or with just ordinary streams. And here, what we can do is quite simple, right? I create my state, and my state is initially an empty array. This is the state of the gatherer, right? And then I say if my state is empty, I just add the element, the next element from the stream, okay? And if I already had my stream, then I push a new pair, like the one I accumulated and the current element, and I reset my state. And that's it. And I say return true, which means I will keep processing your stream for you, okay? I could have said false. And then at the very end, this is so-called finisher. If there are no more elements in the stream to process, and I have this single element, what can I do? I can either discard it or add this magic number, magic companion. I was told in France, you can hire 14th guest. Like you have a party, you throw a party at home, and 13 people shows up, or 12, and you are the 13th person, right? And it's really like bad luck. So we call an agency, and they'll send you the 14th guest. Lovely cultural differences. I love this, right? Greetings to everyone in France. Yes. So this is it, right? If I have just single dangling element, as I had this radar, right, I can just throw single, okay? And let me now go for the, I would say this is the most beautiful gatherer in the in API. And I was even upset that it doesn't, it's just mentioned once in the JEP. In my opinion, it's not advertised as it should be. And let me tell you what I mean by this. By all means, this is not a benchmark, okay? This is not how you do benchmarks. Maybe let me be verbose about this. This is not a benchmark one, okay? But we'll measure some time, okay? So I have this, oopsies, I have this stream of ints. I will process 100 elements, okay? And now I have this method, which is like slow to double. What it does, it artificially sleeps for 1 second, okay? But you can think of it like it makes a request to external service, like you have a microservice, and apparently this microservice is so heavy it takes 1 second to respond, okay? And now you have to enrich, like let's say you were given 100 invoices. And now you need to figure out whether, or like on what date they were paid. So we need to make 100 requests, let's say, because this is the like, okay, let's speak French. This is a crappy API, okay? So instead of sending like 100 IDs, you have to send like 100 requests with each ID, okay? So to get the payments and figure out if the invoices were paid and when were they paid, okay? So think about such a case, okay? And each call takes a second, right? So if I have this 100 payments, okay, and I will create a parallel stream, and by the way, there will be no other parallel streams running on my machine at the same time, okay? How long will it take to process this thing? No, it's not going to be 20 minutes. Yeah. 1 second. Can I get it more? Can I get it less? Okay, let's see. Let's just run it, okay? This is the beauty of these deep dives. We have a bit more time to experiment with this, and it will take... Whew, it takes... It took 10 seconds. Why? Because I have... How many cores? I have 12 cores, okay? If you divide 100 by 12, right, and then there's the remainder, the remaining 4, because it's like 96, you end up with 10 seconds, basically, right? This is it. This is just math. Because I'm able to handle, because it's a parallel stream, only 12 concurrent requests, because these streams, sorry, these threads used in parallel streams are blocking for sleeping, for doing I/O, and I/O includes calling your database or microservice or whatever. And now we could wonder if there was this thing that wouldn't block when you're making an I/O call. Is there such a thing in Java? Sorry? Yes, virtual threads. I'm sorry, you get another jellies. Yeah, exactly. There are virtual threads which don't block, right, when we have like I/O, unless we're doing it for now from synchronized thingy, right? So now, as you can see, I can go for this other or the last built-in gatherer, which is map concurrent, right? And I'm going to say use up to 100 virtual threads and use exactly the same method as in here, right? So instead of parallel map, I'm going to gather them, map them concurrently, right? And now, how long is it going to take, folks? 1.2 seconds. Okay, let's see. I mean, I'm slowing it a little bit with this output, right? But this output was just to show you that it's running in batches. Okay, that's it. Just 1 second, right? And you were right. It was what, 1 second. There you go. Sorry, I threw it too strong. Yes, yeah. The parallel one, no. The parallel one is running the ones which are like in forejoin pool, right? And these aren't virtual threads. The ones used under this map concurrent are using virtual threads, and it's written using virtual threads here. See, this is the thing, and this is the beauty of Java, right? It keeps dying for 30 years. Right? It's dying and doesn't want to die. It's still kicking. So they added these virtual threads, and now they are used in more places in the ecosystem and even in other places in the JDK itself. So you can see how this good stuff is infecting other good parts, right? So with this change, we could still think, or we can now finally think about like a parallel processing of data using streams, right? Because now it's not blocking us. And of course, like I'm cheating a little bit because it's using thread sleep and whatnot, but you know, it's like the privilege of running a demo. Okay, sorry, not this. Back to slides. Yeah. So there are these predefined ones, and you can write your own gatherers, of course. And this is the nice point of it, and right. This is basically the plugin design pattern. Like we have plugins to browsers, to IDEs, to games, right? We can also now have a plugin to intermediate operation to stream processing. And what it takes to create a stream gatherer, it always requires an integrator. Integrator is the thing that, like with this folding, right? This is my current state, and this is the element I'm processing. How shall I integrate the element into the state, right? This is the integrator. They can also use initializer to initialize the state, combiner if we run them in parallel, just to combine two states, right? And finisher, we saw a finisher, right? One finisher, how to finish it if there's like still something in a state and there's no more elements. And true gem, in my opinion, is gather is map concurrent. I even wrote a blog post about this, running the same experiment you saw, right? And like also trying to get something out of my $20 paid for the AI. Okay, cool. So this is like we saw it, right? This is for finding these fluctuations, for example. Now let's talk about, and I guess this might be the last topic we cover for the online part, okay? So I'll try to squeeze it in. Primitive types in patterns, instance of, and switch. So it's a preview feature in Java 23. Okay, and it's the JEP 455. Do you recognize this beast? What does it do? Come on, I'm not recruiting you. It's not tricky. I'm just trying to figure out if this integer can be cast or casted, sorry, I don't know what's the proper English here, into a byte. Right, not character but byte. If it can, I mean, we could have a character here perhaps as well. I don't know, but if it's size of byte, byte, as the name implies, occupies just 1 byte, and because it's like we always have signed numbers, right? There are no unsigned like in C++. It can be 255 values, range from -128 thanks to U2 notation, to plus 127, right? So, of course, I can cast it just like this, but it might not work. Okay, let me go for IDE. Maybe it's like a tricky and sort of unfair when I'm showing the code in slides. Maybe it should be IDE. Okay, and I should have it. Where do I have it? Primitive in patterns. Start here. Okay. Yes. Cool. No license. Yes. This thing. Right. Let me put a breakpoint here for time being. And so when I run it with 142, what will it print? Obviously, yes, there is no trickery here. Let's see if it runs. Yes, and it has printed cannot use 142. What happens if I didn't do this check and just went for this cast? What will it print? Okay, what's the negative number? I have one more jelly, sorry. No. See, it's okay. If there are some like recruiters watching us, please don't go for such stuff, okay, when we're for interviews and so on. Let me just go here, okay. It prints minus 114. Did anyone say minus 114? Like this thing? Nobody, okay. No jealous for you. Yes, so if you don't check it like this when you want to cast primitive number, right, you just lose information. And with reference type, it's not such a big deal. Why? Because you get class, cast, exception. Exactly. With primitive types, it just silently continues. And you discover, you know, in your issue tracker, 2 months later, that you ended up with corrupted data in your database because of such innocent bugs, right? So if you are an experienced person, or if you have any source code analyzers and so on, like they will tell you, no, you should be checking if it's a proper byte range before you do this casting, and so on and so on, right? If I do, of course, here, like let's say 12, right? It should work like, all right, no problems here. Yes, it's still 12. And people tested manually, or even in automated tests, there's just a test like with 42, 100. Passed to test, so it's good, obviously, right? We don't go for like property testing or stuff like this. And here's the problem, okay? Now, what we can do using Java 23 is the following. And now, time for a grand finale. We can go for this. If it's instance of byte, right? If I'm able to fit the value from this integer into byte, I say can use b as byte value as in here, right? Else it prints cannot use I as byte value because it's 142, right? And this is like, as you can see with this pattern matching, right? What it's doing, it's not just casting, but also making sure that this cast is in fact legal, right? So it's not losing information. And there are more ways where we can do. As you can see, we can now go for pattern matching also with primitive types, right? So not just reference types as from Java, I've forgotten, 21, 22, something like this, right? But also with this thing. So I can check if this I can be byte, I can say virtually the same thing as with this instance of. So this and this is virtually doing the same thing. Okay, so I can handle it this way, and that's why I say I see here cannot use 142 as byte value. Okay, no mystery here. Or do you see this? We weren't able to do this previously. We weren't able to use instance of with primitive types. Now we can. And there's also another thing hidden in this code snippet, which is switching over a Boolean. So we might say bye-bye to Elvis operator. Okay, some would say, oh, maybe not, maybe that's like too verbose. Some people would say, no, but I like it. I mean, there are languages which don't have Elvis operator, okay, because it's like tricky to read, okay, Golang if I'm not mistaken. So as you can see, now we can not only use instance of with just a byte, right, without aliasing as in here, but it yields Boolean value, so we can also switch using this Boolean value, okay, go for true or false. What we can also do is, there was big news in Java 7, if you remember, if you're as old as I am. Big news for Java 7 was, we can switch over strings now, people. Right? That was the news. Because in Java 5 they added enums, and in Java 7 they added strings. Now they added all the remaining primitive types. So long, float, byte, and sorry, not byte, Boolean, right? It just requires that this thing is of the same type, or it can be the same like big type. I cannot go like here. Why? The reasoning is the following. It might be when I try to compare this with this, I'm losing information already. So in order to prevent funny bugs, it has to be of exactly the same type, right? For these like labels. And then as you can see, I can also toss some guards, right? I could go for like integers here as well. Yes, I guess I have like a bug here anyway here. And anyway, let me try to, where's the freaking bug? 102 is not below 100. Yes, of course it's not below, yeah. I've written back, sorry. Last part might be this thing, and this is nice. I have this record wrapper, okay? And this might be, and this is like the example, like very influenced by the example in the JEP. How can you represent numbers in JSON? There's always double, apparently. Right? So let's say we have a wrapper for like a number coming out from JSON, right? And this is a double wrapped value. And when we go for 142.2, it prints double value, okay? When I go for 142.0, it goes for int value, because it's, hey, I can cast it without losing information, right, to an integer. And when I go for just 42.0, I can go and say I can use it even as a byte value, despite this thing here is double, right? So it can also go for nested stuff. And there are more things. I'm not sure we have time for this. Yeah, you're more than welcome to play with these demos. Maybe I will find this. Yes, this is it, or what is it? Which one? I had like one nasty one. Yes, this is nice. This is nice. Let me try to run it to make sure it's running. Okay, it's running now. And one thing is this. Now it doesn't compile. Why? Because de facto this exceeds precision exactly, right? Because it's like 6 or 7 digits depending of the value, right, in float. And now it says duplicate label of 1 because it's rounded to 1. So we can't have 1 and 1, right? Because it's the the same it's the same label, right? So that's that thing. Yes, okay. Yeah, so we've seen this thing, okay. We've seen this and this and this and this, which in my opinion might be the most impactful one, because for the other ones we got sort of like used to it, right? It's like a, I don't know, like a shoe in your stone. If it gets between your fingers, right, you're still able to, sorry, stone in your shoe. What did I say? And you can like still walk with you just get so used to it you don't notice it anymore, right? And now we'll have this pattern matching with primitive types. So maybe as the old Java dinosaurs, we'll have to like relearn that there are better ways, right, of doing stuff. Yeah, Important part is there are no new conversions added, right? So we still can't cast safely like double to float, right? Unless it's inside the scope, or we can't like cast integer to byte like we could do in C++, right? So 0 is false, everything non-zero is true, for example, because there is like, or there used to be no Boolean in C++, so we used to emulate it, right? Pattern matching can handle primitive types now. Conversions can be, there are like 3 kinds, I would say. Unconditionally exact, like going from, for example, from byte to like short or int or long, right? Or from int to long. It's guaranteed at compile time it will always work. Or float to double, okay? No questions asked. If that's something like, sometimes they're exact, so we need to, or the Java has to do a runtime check. If it fits and if it's converted back, if it's the same value, okay, then of course, like it adds this check at runtime, right? If it's the same value, then it's an exact conversion and still it's good to go, or it's basically rejected, because it means it's losing some like a piece of information, okay? Now we can use all primitive types in switch in cases, including Boolean, and that means we cannot use dominating patterns, right? If you match double, good luck trying to match anything else, okay? It won't work. Maybe we shall see just one last demo for that. Let's move this one up. See? If it matched double, for sure it won't match byte or integer, because double can always contain more information than byte and int. So this case is dominating these 2 cases, right? Does it say it so? Hold on, let's wait. Yeah, label is dominated by a preceding case label wrapper double, okay? So it's just like with pattern matching with any other type. There is like nothing surprising here. And also like if we don't make it exhaustive, like see, it complains and it says does not cover all possible input values, okay? So you either go for default or sealed classes, or you go like make sure that every possible input is covered. Okay, I guess we'll skip this part about like what happened in Java 22. We'll keep it for the super late night show or whatever Wojtek called it, sorry. Let's just go for this Varia. There are very nice blog posts about what changes happen to garbage collectors in like each version of Java, right? And for Java 23, it's something like this, right? So these are not my posts, right? I'm just like linking them for you. And now this is the beauty of it. If you're so desperate about having this imaginary fallback plan called LTS, okay, you can still keep source compatibility, let's say on level of Java 21, but still use the newest JDK and the newest performance benefits, right, from its JDK, from this JDK, like these the benefits from, for example, from G1, ZGC, and other stuff, right? So you still can be like bound to, let's say, Java 21 or latest LTS source-wise. And even you can even compile for the same byte code, right? But you can run it on the newest JDK that already is released. Okay. This region pinning for G1, if I'm not mistaken, this is important if you're using G1 and JNI. So because if you create an object in HIP and it has to be used by like native code, you can't at the same time like move this object in HIP, right? So now instead of like stopping the garbage collection at all, we'll be just pinning this region. We'll say in this region there is an object that cannot be moved, so please don't bother about garbage collecting this region, basically. Yes, there's class file API. So there are changes to the bytecode format, and sometimes they are like fast. And what does it mean? It's just there's a like a copy or clone of ASM in JDK itself, right? It's just ASM cannot incorporate changes that are made in bytecode for Java version N until Java version N gets released. and we end up with chicken and egg problem. Okay, so now it's not meant that there will be like something like faster than ASM or Java Assist or whatever. It's just if you are a framework or library maintainer and you need to manipulate bytecode, the JDK itself will give you a compatible or an API that's compatible with this JDK, right? So you can play however you wish with this code. And of course, there's this never-ending story. I mean, it will end once we'll have Valhalla with Vector API. And there's also some deprecated stuff. So memory access methods in SunMISC itself unsafe are deprecated for removal. The reason is there's like foreign memory API now since Java 22. So why would you need this unsafe method? Because, fun fact, it might be unsafe because it's in a class called unsafe, exactly. And check out Java 24. Java 24 is going to be even more fun. Let me show it to you really quick. See, permanently disable the security manager. This will be fun. Remove Windows 32-bit port, right? So no more Windows 32. There will be more like stuff happening here. Like removing or deprecating. So this will be fun times. But I think it's kind of like sort of like maybe cleaning before the next LTS or whatnot. As I said, I work for Elastic. I work in a DevRel team or in a community team, right? So we run these Elastic meetups. These are free to enter, right? You just need to RSVP yes. And fun fact, because I came to Warsaw, we'll be having next meetup in Warsaw in just 2 days. So on Thursday evening in the city center, right? You can go and join us. Or if you're watching us somewhere else, we also run these worldwide, right? And now, just to conclude the online part, folks, always and everyone, and give us your feedback, okay? So not just click like and subscribe and the bell button, okay? Also let us know how it went. For this very reason, I encourage not just you folks, but everyone out there to tell me how it was, right? This is an anonymous survey, unless you decide to introduce yourself, right? I know how, I would like to know how it went, right? Whether you liked it or not, what could be improved, what was okay-ish, and so on. So in 3, 2, 1... Okay, I guess that's it. If you desperately need to follow me on the social media, this is the way. Also, when it comes to WJUG, please make sure you attend the next. I mean, virtually the next one given by Anton Arhipov. Anton will be talking about Kotlin 2.0, so you'll be able to ask Anton, hey Anton, with this all new excited changes to Java, why should I even bother with Kotlin, right? And Anton is like a very smart guy. I'm sure he will answer this question, no problem. These are the slides for today, and I guess this is it from me, at least for this part. Thank you.
Okay, are there any questions? I do have one question, because there was a very heated discussion on YouTube.
Oh gosh, we started flame war.
And I'm pretty sure I saw Anton's name as one of it, so maybe there will be a reply from him directly. Yeah, poor Anton is one of the comments from Johan. And we are waiting for the questions from the public here, but I have a question from Simon. What's your favorite recent enhancement that's not too often talked about? We've all heard plenty about virtual threads, etc., but what's yours?
Seriously, I very much like these changes that make this thing with void main print line how are you possible. It might seem like a little thing, right? But it shows you also the mindset that the people who are behind OpenJDK realize that it's not enough to move Java itself forward, right? It's not only about, you know, this super duper advanced stuff like continuations with scheduler while in synchronizing and like putting threads on CPU and whatnot. It's called and nicely wrapped as virtual thread, right? It's also, and should be also nice for newcomers, right? For people who just want to start their journey with IT or like computer science or programming in general, right? So it's like this spirit in general, if I may say, leave nobody behind, right? This is what I love about the Java, because it's not just the JDK, it's not just the language, it's actually the community. And this is, in my opinion, like this very much this manifestation of this mindset, sharing is caring, and like leaving nobody behind. So I like these changes because also I'm an educator. For me, it's now easier to educate people what's nice and exciting in Java, right?
Any question now from the public? Thank you very much for your answer. Oh, come on. We have to use the fluffy thing. Yeah.
I have a question regarding string templates, why it failed, why there's no better implementation. Because it really sucks, and most of modern languages already have string templates, and this works.
Yeah, the thing is, so I don't have, regarding this, any secret ties to OpenJDK folks, right? So this is like not their statement, it's like my perception of what has happened. So what has happened is this. We don't want to have just string interpolations, which is basically concatenation, okay? Because then, you know, little Bobby tables will happen. Or, you know, this registration plate on a car drop the table tablice and so on, right? This is the story. You expose yourself for like a great deal of attacks. Some people said, maybe it's not the responsibility of the language. The maintainer said, we still think that this is somewhat our responsibility. So this whole you know, thing with string templates and processors was an attempt to address this very thing. And what I was told, I'm not entirely sure if that was the case, but what I was told, or what I remember, was this. It was actually also some people from Oracle, like OpenJDK maintainers, who wanted to rewrite pieces of JDK so they could start using string templates. You know, it's like dog fooding, right? Eat the stuff before you sell it to the people. And they basically said, no, it's not. It's addressing imaginary needs, right? It's too much ceremony and so on. So basically the thing got withdrawn, and I'm really sorry, right? And in my opinion, there are two really like pain points in Java, modern Java, that come from history. First is lack of any decent string interpolation, or any interpolation in that case, right? Apart from like formatted or printf or whatever. And the second part is the collections. It's just, I'm afraid with collections we are stuck for good, forever. They're always going to be like, unless you try to add to an immutable or unmodifiable list, you won't know if it's immutable or unmodifiable, right? Like in Scala or like Eclipse collections or Vapor and such stuff. You don't know it just by taking a look at the type. So we are where we are, and I don't know, like, you're always welcome to draft your own JEP, right? With some PRs on top of it and suggest your thing. It was a very heated discussion, I can assure you.
Yeah, you can actually do that. Java community as a program just had a 25th anniversary, so you
Yes.
can actually influence what Java as a language looks like. I encourage you to check that out.
I have to tell you this. Like, how can you, like, a simple way how you can influence this? Sorry, you called for this. You go for software. Like what I did, I wrote a blog post because one thing didn't work for me regarding JEP 443. Like something didn't work in IntelliJ, and I was basically like, why doesn't it work, right? And the JetBrains people figure out basically that this was a problem in Java C, right? And so this is how you influence the OpenJDK team. You rant about stuff in your blog post, right? You post on Twitter, because this is what happened. I posted this on Twitter, and then it got picked up, and of course it wasn't me who influenced, like, this thing is like picked and addressed quickly, right? I was just one of the many. But being one of the many, just, you know, throwing my little own marble made the thing like addressed, you know. So see, you can influence what's happening in really funny ways.
So yeah, thank you very much for your question. There's one more question from YouTube. Is there something that improves the performance out of the box?
Well, I would say there are many things that improve the performance out of the box, and it really depends like what kind of what do you understand that performance? Is it the startup? Is it the long stop the world pauses, right? There's the one elephant in the room which I didn't cover, which is obviously called the holy grail of Java, right? So I didn't talk about Graal. Alina covered it not that long ago on vJUG, right? So Graal is doing better than ever, for the slip, better than ever. And you can create your native binaries, right? This what really makes also Java cloud friendly, because you don't have to bother about JDK, creating a module like JDK and stuff like this. You just create native executable, and it's running and starting up really, really fast and using less memory and so on. So it depends what your needs are, right? There are ways of making Java faster, like with class data sharing stuff, with using this vector API as Elasticsearch is doing, right? So just to squeeze the simple trick, what this vector API is doing. Let's say you have a simple CPU these days and has registries which are like 128 bytes long, okay? Bits, of course, bits. And then you have to add like one array and another array of integers. Integer is 32 bits. So instead of adding, like putting one integer to one registry and another integer to another registry, and then summing them up and sending back to RAM, what you can do is this. You can take first 4 items from array A, put them into registry, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 0, 1, 2, 3. The same for the other registry. And then in one CPU instruction, you can add 4 elements, right? So of course, there's like still this memory overhead. So we need to bring it from RAM to put it into your cache and registries and then send it back and so on and so on. But instead of like using 4 instructions to add, you can just add using 1. So you see, there's this ridiculous thing. You wouldn't want to write anything like database related in Java, some say, yet there's Elasticsearch and Neo4j for some obscure reasons.
So, any questions once again from here? There is one.
Okay, you have shown the import module thingy.
Yeah.
And I am wondering if they actually are touching this part of importing things. I wonder, do you aware of any JEB that cover actually import aliases or something like that?
Like re-aliasing? No, I'm not aware of this. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm not. Yeah. There are some changes to like in Java 24 with this import, so it's going to be like easier or like more forgiving a little bit with this Java SE, right? So there are changes, but nothing significant. And nothing in this regard. And let's just not forget about this thing, that modules in Java were predominantly invented or meant to modularize the JDK itself. That's why they still don't have versions, right? So, yes.
All right. I think I have a last question from YouTube. Can you suggest some kind of resources for learning and improving in low level and JVM? And if you have don't have something on your mind at the moment, we can post it afterwards.
Yes. Sorry, like it's been a long day with quite a few last Christmas along it. So I don't have anything in mind.
So I saw some answers from the community. As for now,
I know one of the very few last things. There are going to be improvement changes like in Java 24 as well. So what you can see here, for example, is after like quite a few years, Roman managed to make compact object headers, right? So Project Lilliput to put it in there, right? So it's yet another way to make things faster or have like smaller overhead. Shenandoah is going to be generational. What you don't see here is like projects like Crack from Azure, right? And other companies that makes your stuff faster, like linking these images. I mean, these are little tiny things, but yeah, they might overall improve stuff. And of course, there are all these little things that are too little to make into a separate JEP, right? They are like, it's not only this that changes version to version. Okay, there are also these smaller bug fixes or smaller features that just make it as JDK point and there's a number in the issue tracker. Okay, there are more.
Okay, I think for the questions session, as for now, and as for our live, we'll be concluding that. I saw that vJUG posted the email. So if you're watching and if you'd like to host, or you are part of the community but not a leader, just go to your leaders and say that there's an initiative like that. Be aware that we are blessed with Paramount as our host to have such a wonderful setup, but it doesn't have to be as professional. It can be just live streaming from your home as well. So it doesn't have to be as great as we do have here. So thank you very much, Piotr. Thank you very much, all the people watching us on live. And thank you very much for all the people that are here with us tonight. And yes, have a great evening. Have a great vJUG Connect session in the future. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, guys. Thank you very much.
Peace.